Okay, I think we're live. All right. So today is 20th April 2020. 2 weeks into circuit break, and today we're very happy to have one of our urban agents, Tina Lee, to join us today to kind of talk about how's the market and actually more. We will focus more a little bit or more on Chinese buyers because Tina actually has a lot of experience with Chinese clients. But anyway, before we go there, maybe Tina, you can share a little bit about yourself with the viewers.
Yeah, hello. My name is Tina and I'm from ERA. I've been in this trade for 5 years, and previously I was working in FedEx as a credit collections manager. A total change of dimension in work, but I find it very fulfilling as an agent because so many things that I can do beyond my scope of duties. Whereas the corporate world, there's a lot of standard operating guides. You can't go too much above. Whereas as an agent, there's a lot of things that is within my control to do.
Got it. And as I mentioned just now, you actually have a pretty big client base actually from China. Yes. How did that get started in the first place? Because I understand you are not the strongest with Mandarin. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah. In fact, yesterday I just published an article in the official WeChat media. It was written by a customer of mine. When I read it, I was pretty touched because she mentioned exactly the same thing. She says that my Mandarin is not there, but somehow we managed to get along. So I think it's a chemistry of magic that makes two person interact. It's not just about language.
Got it. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, thanks for, and we later on actually we're gonna go in a lot deeper about I think there are a lot of very interesting insights you have because you're on the ground all the time and you deal with so many Chinese clients. But before we go there, right? I think you're very humble. You didn't mention, and I forgot to mention that just now. Actually, Tina is a top agent. And we are very lucky to have Tina to join the Urban Agents program. But she's actually been, I think, the top 10 agents in ERA, one of the biggest agencies in Singapore, for the past few years. So when I say top, as in top 10, yeah. So she's killing it. That's so. So anyway, that's why I think it would be so interesting to have you on and to share, because you actually, even though you appear so like down to earth and all that, but actually you've been killing it in the market. But anyway, so maybe just to start off this whole conversation, right? I think it's good to give some context of, like I said, today is 20th April, right? And to see where we are, because obviously the world today is a very different world from just a couple of months ago. So let me just start off with this chart. Okay, Tina, can you see the chart on your end?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So actually, 1-2 weeks ago, I actually did a video. Because since all of us are kind of like a circuit breaker at home, right? So nothing better to do. So I have been throwing up a couple of videos, and this particular one that I did was about how, looking back in some of the data, transaction data, and to see how Singapore real estate market have actually reacted to past crises. So here, what we're seeing is the top side is actually the median price per square foot for all the resale private transactions. So resale, no new sale, and then below are all the resale numbers on a monthly basis. So as you can see, it's bumpy, and then but it's been going up, the general trend. But what I want to highlight here is during the Asian financial crisis, things were really bad, right, and really have a pretty severe drop. I think almost like it's almost like one, easily 25-30% drop, and then but slowly kind of recover up in 2 years' time. And then the next one was SARS, which is, I guess, psychologically a big thing for a lot of Singaporeans. But actually, if you look at the actual market data, it is like a non-event, right? I mean, prices rarely dropped, transaction didn't really drop. And then you have your global financial crisis, beginning in 2008. And that was really quite severe. But I guess because of all the, stimulus packages and around the world, not just in Singapore, that actually, if you again look at the at least the private transaction resale market, yes, there's a steep drop, but there was also a very steep climb, right, after that. And you can see the transaction really recover very, very strongly on very, very healthy prices from there. And then we went through this pretty healthy increase, in fact very significant increase, up till around the 2014 period, where for the past 5 or so years it's been like that. So, and then now today we are April 2020, right? Coronavirus, COVID-19. So and I think this chart gives a good backdrop of where we are currently in time. And we're going to come back to COVID-19 and what you think, Tina, what you think about COVID-19 later on. But maybe before we go there, right, I do want to come back to, I actually have a lot of questions to you about your Chinese clients, right? And I think that's, you are really on the ground talking to clients all the time. And I think you have very, very interesting insights and stories to share. So let's just go there first, and then we will slowly move back to COVID-19. So actually, how, to start with, right, what would you say, why do the Chinese from China want to buy a property in Singapore? Yeah, let's just start with that first. Yeah.
Okay, basically, if you try to tell a China person that come buy a property in Singapore, it's good investment, they will laugh at you, because Singapore market is always stable. Okay, the rise doesn't come tomorrow. We have a lot of control measures, like you can't sell within 3 years. If not, there's taxes and all that. So in China, it's different. You buy today, next year you sell, you probably have a double. But why they buy? Because Singapore is stable financially. Because of their children's education. They would like to set up a company in Singapore because, as I mentioned just now, it's stable, right? So these are some of the reasons why they prefer to own properties in a country which is stable. Our government is also very open, very transparent. Whatever we do, it is updated. And even times when they receive negative comments and all that, but at least they know that everything is on the table. So that makes it good for them to come. And the point is actually a lot of customers, they come because of child's education. Singapore is actually the stepping stone to countries like US and to UK, because
to teach them English. Okay, I see.
Right.
A nice transition.
So it's very close to home, and our universities are also well-known, top. And just like in China, if they want to go to the best university, which is in Tsinghua, it's like maybe 10% of the whole market. Whereas in Singapore, our university is of higher grades, and it's much easier to come in. But the bottom line is that the English becomes the main medium for communication.
I see. So really, for their future generation, for their kids, and for that reason, that's where they start thinking of the housing needs, I guess. So okay, so in effect, what you're saying is that they don't think of it as buying a house to make money per se, but buying a house, at least it's safe, right? And it's transparent. In that regard, I mean, do you sometimes have to, like, do they sometimes ask you, hey, why should I park money in Singapore versus say park money in Hong Kong, let's say, or some other countries?
They used to park in Hong Kong, but because of the, especially because of the country, remember last year they were reacting and there was a lot of order and all that. Are fearful, and in fact, Singapore and Hong Kong, we are on almost equal ground when it comes to finance. It's either we are number 2 or they are number 2. But because of the Hong Kong activities, they found that at least Singapore is a much more controlled island. Our government is pretty strict and will not tolerate such activities.
I see. So from a safety perspective, that's what they consider as well.
Correct. Because Singapore is pretty safe in the sense that there's a lot of law and order. You want to do things, there's no way of shortcut. You have to follow 1, 2, 3 in accordance to the law. So they find it, although they sometimes find that, hey, why Singaporeans do things so slow? But at the end of the day, they know that it's stable and it can be trusted. So it's very important that they know their long-term investment is stable and will be there in 10 years' time.
Got it. I see. And I mean, you mentioned just now, obviously, you know, the stamp duty here is no joke lah, for foreigners. I mean, is that a big mental block for them, or how do they think of this huge? I'm assuming they think that it's big lah. I mean,
yes.
What do they typically?
Typically, to a customer, it's very simple. When I buy a property, right, will it rise? Will it drop? They know that for sure Singapore property will not rise tremendously if you want to sell overnight sale. But come with time, it will rise. However, we were talking about the stamp duty. It's a very simple equation. When you buy something, you add in the tax. Just like if you buy an apple, you add in the GST already, right? If the apple is $2, would you buy or not? So you don't actually, in a big picture nutshell, you don't put the price of the unit and the price of the tax separately. It comes together. So to them, if I'm going to buy a $2 million property,
I see.
you add it up together, is it worth a buy? If the taxes are low, for sure the developers will mark up the price. So it's a less pocket, right?
I see. And I suppose, I mean, I totally get what you mean. Like, basically, you look at things in totality, lah, right? Yes. Especially with such a big purchase. And I'm sure, I guess they compare, you know, with prices back home. When they do that, what's their usual comment about Singapore prices?
If you compare prices in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, we have to take these 3 countries because they are the more alike country with us, meaning that they are business countries. You can see that their prices there per square foot is much more expensive than in Singapore. So to them, Singapore being a small country, and right now our population is at 5.63, and we intend to build up our population by 6.9 million, right? How much land do we have? So ultimately, what is the demand going to be like for houses? So it's a very simple equation to them, and they're not going to sell tomorrow. So they are also waiting for the time where property is then needed. And back to that, we're also talking about those China students that come to Singapore. A lot of parents are renting units. So if the child came at the age of, let's say 9, they still have like at least 10 more years in Singapore. Are they going to pay rent for 10 years? To them, it's better to throw that money into a property. The rental then becomes the mortgage payment. So it's no-brainers, you know, kind of thought that I'd rather own my house. I can do whatever I want with the house rather than I'm at the mercy of a landlord.
I
so
see.
We have two types of customers that come in. One, investors, which they only want to have a stable income in future. But meanwhile, they rent out what they can to help pay partial of the mortgage loan. And you have another kind of people that's buying, which is for their own stay. I stay for 10 years. Don't tell me by 10 years the property won't rise. You know, so they save on the rental in a way, because after all they're going to pay rental. You just take 2,500 a month and times that 10 years, how much that's going to be.
I see what you're saying. And what is the typical split, would you say? I mean, between those like homestay and investment, roughly speaking. I mean, among the Chinese buyers, the China.
I would say it's a 50-50 because we do have a lot of students. Yeah, correct.
Got it. I see. Okay, cool. How about? I mean, it's also coming back. So you were saying just now that when they compare prices here with prices back home, they think, oh, this is so cheap, even with the stamp duty. So,
Correct.
and then because they're really thinking when they buy a home in Singapore, by default, it's a long-term investment. So they're actually quite comfortable even with the stamp duty, right? Knowing that it's safe, they're not looking for speculative returns.
Yes, that's right.
How about the currency exposure? I mean, they do think of things in renminbi, right?
Yeah.
Do they have any concern typically with the Sing dollar?
No, basically, Sing dollar is pretty stable. So at point of calculation, right, they know that the fluctuation is not very high. Neither is the Sing currency too high in that sense compared to US, compared to the taxes that they would not need to pay if they sell away their units. So to them is that it is a total profit or loss. They can really look at it that way. If there's a profit, there's not going to be any taxes because there's no profit tax in Singapore, unlike Australia, UK, US. After sale, right, they still have to pay a portion to the government for tax.
But I mean, but that will be calculated in Sing dollars term. But I mean, it seems that what you're saying is that I mean, it's rarely a concern for them, Sing dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I see. Cool. So it sounds like it's a fairly easy sale then. Do you ever have to I mean, when you talk to these Chinese, like let's say prospective clients, right? Not your client yet, but thinking about like what you mentioned are all fairly positive stuff, right? But are there usually any like lingering things that they'll still be, that you need to kind of explain a little bit more?
I mean, definitely we have to do that. If they're parting with tons of money, right? There are some things at the back of their mind, but I think the most rational thing is don't sell. Because once you have that mind that you are not selling, that already take out the stigma of, hey, this person is trying to push me something. So it's very important that we sit down, talk to them, really understand what they want, bring them around to see exactly what is available in Singapore. So we talk about building a friendship, building a network with them. So then the rest falls into place.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I understand that, you actually kind of took a pretty long break last year. Because you did so well the previous few years. Took a break. I mean, a well-deserved one. But actually, you spent most of that break back in China, right?
Yes.
And how was that like?
Okay, in Chinese, there's two things that is very important. One is 关系, which is networking, right?
Sure.
Second thing is 诚恳, whether how
sincere,
appreciative you are of them. So they have been telling me and my partner, hey, come over, let us give you the hospitality that you gave us when we were in Singapore. So we kept saying, okay, we are going, but we never did because we simply don't have the time. So I told my partner that, hey, it's time that we will need to return them this visit and to better know them as individual rather than as business friends. So that's how we started going over, saying hello to them, and in return, and we didn't think of it, but in return we got additional sales because of networking. So having made a lot of friends, at least I know China more, and I can tell them that, hey, I've been to places like Pingyao, which not much people go.
Where's Pingyao?
Is in Shanxi.
Shanxi, okay.
Is a place that I never thought I would go. I think my next plans were actually to go to places like in the Inner Mongolia and all that. And probably I will continue the journey once it's okay. So these are, and I even wanted to go Wuhan actually to visit my friends because saw them 9 years ago, and I
Mm.
thought it was a good opportunity to renew my friendships with them.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, this period,
Yeah.
I almost went in January, but I
Oh, wow.
didn't. Somehow, yeah. So these are
Okay.
the things that I intend to do.
Mm.
In fact, this COVID period, I said that, okay, I'm ready to come back to do sales again, so that it can fund my other traveling again.
Mm.
But somehow it didn't make it because of the
Mm.
COVID. But
Mm.
I think this period of 2 to 3 months, I still had got calls and inquiry from my China counterpart.
Mm.
I know that they are waiting for the time
Mm.
when it can come in, because there were some trips that were cancelled in January and February.
Mm. So they wanted to come and check out the market, but they can't come now, basically. I see.
Yeah,
Actually, that's a
correct.
very good segue to COVID-19. So you took this long break in China, and then now you want to come back guns blazing, and want to be, get all the transactions again, and then wow, the whole market kind of closed shop now, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you were saying, obviously some of these Chinese clients who wanted to come could no longer come. How do you continue to engage them though? I mean, in the meantime, you're like,
in fact, for me, it never changed, because all along before they came, right, I had to do some preparation for them, like giving them slides of projects, write out of projects, video if I have. But it is made easier now because the developers are coming up with the V360, the look and feel of show flats. So in fact, came to my advantage, because previously I had to ask permission back the developers to allow me to film show flat, right? But right now it's available. I can actually at a click send it to my customers, and they have a look what they may want. Yeah.
So I mean, actually, in that sense, I mean, it's the bright side of this whole COVID-19 crisis that we have is kind of the acceleration of the or the adoption of some of these tools like that used to be nice to have, but now it's almost like a must-have.
Yes.
I mean, while everyone is kind of staying at home.
Yeah.
But I suppose, I mean, for such a big trip purchase, I don't know. I mean, I've heard of stories of people who just buy, buy without seeing, right? But I believe that's still probably mostly in the minority, right? Am I right?
Yes, it's a minority, but it really depends on the buyer. If the buyer is a true investor, he basically doesn't care how the unit looks like, whether it's pretty or not.
I see.
Very important things is that how much can you rent the unit for? How much can you sell the unit in future? So such investors are actually looking at context of transport, the food, the kind of clientele that they can. Example, look at Marina One. It is at the smack of the CBD, 4 MRT lines below, food courts around, supermarket within premise. So these are good locations that they will invest in, because they know that with people like Facebook, just beside them, Mitsui Bank and all that, the rental yield and the rental demand is there.
So you have previous clients who actually literally bought virtually,
Yes, and not only virtually, they don't even come and collect the keys.
Okay, so you jaga everything for them.
Jaga pao ka liao lah, as in what we Hokkien say.
Yeah. I mean that really requires a tremendous sense of trust, lah. I mean that.
But they will have to come one time. Most of
to do
them,
the actual transaction.
Sign documents. Sure. Yes, correct.
Got
because
it.
Our lawyers in Singapore, they are very prudent. They will make sure that this entity or this person really exists.
Got it. Not some random notary somewhere. Yeah. I mean, this is something. I'm a geek, right? I'm super as geeky as it comes, and I'm a technology guy. I like to, so. to be frank, I mean, when I started this whole Urban Zoom, Urban Agents thing, right, you know, it started off from a very, very tech, oh, how can we use tech to make things, but you know, the more I interact and work with agents like yourself, right, the more I realize actually there's just so much that tech just can never replace.
Yeah.
You know, and it's I mean, it's a very humbling thing for me to realize, because, you know, I believe so much in tech, right? And I think what you're saying is that, you know, technology, like let's say all this virtual tour, right? I mean, it's in a way because of technology that we get to use that. But I mean that people don't, I guess your clients, you know, don't ask Tina's, you know, your help to buy multiple properties, almost sight unseen, basically, you know, just with technology. Yeah, and that's something that is very interesting for me, right? And actually a lot of people who are not in this agency trade, of course it's easy to, I mean, people like to bash about agents all the time, and certainly there are black apples in this trade, but once there's trust being built, I think that there's basically no technology in the world can replace that. Okay, anyway, just a side thing. Let's get back to a couple more questions. So, you were using tools and all that. Let's see. But I mean, right now, yes, you are using these tools and to send across, say, the virtual tours to them and all that. But the fact is that you yourself are also, just like the rest of us, are kind of, you know, hunker down at home, right? And all the show flats are closed as well. How do transactions still happen? Like what do you think is what's your view? What are you doing currently, right? And also, what's your view in the very short term? Like, you know, what's going to happen in the market?
There will be transactions still going on, because there could be some customers who have already viewed, and right now what they do is they confirm a sale. You probably will get one or two investors still saying that, okay, I'll go ahead and do the buy, and probably the salesperson may want to just close the deal. But my approach is a bit different, because I want to make sure that my customers know what they're going into, what they're committing. I actually have a rather slow approach in closing. So that could be my disadvantage. But I'd rather have it as a win-win.
Closer, then how do you become top agent? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you just have a lot of clients. Okay, good.
No, it's not only a lot of clients. It's like a total trust that, you know, when they put something in your hands, they know that it's not for making money. They know that I have a remuneration. That's my issue to them, is that as long as you do your due diligence as an agent. So we also want to make sure that they are going into the property with their two eyes open. Yeah. And actually, back to what you were saying just now about data and stats, right? Basically, I'm from finance background, but when I look at stats, I'm not a very statistical person, meaning that I don't drill the customers based on, you see the chart is saying this, the chart is saying that. Because if I have that data, everybody has the same data. You have the virtual tour, I also have the virtual tour. But I think my customers, at the end of the day, they make a decision based on talking to me, analyzing me. So it's something, a brand name finally that nobody has.
Got it.
While data are important, the feeling of chemistry between the buyer and the seller is even more important. I've rejected some closing sales because I find that I cannot serve this customer as per what they may want, or I find that this is not a deal I want, because it's no point to push yourself just to make some commission, right? And at the end of the day, both parties just don't work out. It doesn't work in that way.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, that's great. So I mean, then I guess my last question now, right? It's again, I mean, you now that you are staying at home, how are you kind of maximizing your time? Now that you can't do too much home, you can't do any home viewing basically, right? How are you spending your time? Yeah.
Okay, many would say I'm a very laid back person, meaning that I've been very busy for the last 3.5 years. My first 2 years in property, I was actually a part-time agent. I was still doing full-time job, and I literally worked like maybe 16 to 17 hours a day. Very, very drained out. And eventually I got into full-time. And bearing in mind the first 2 years when I was full-time in FedEx, I was also clocking as a top agent in ERA.
That's
So
incredible.
imagine my exhaustion, right? Then when I came full-time to property, I thought that I have more time. You know, because part-time I cope, then full-time I should have more time, right? But actually I had even lesser time because of the time I spent with individual customers. So when I went to China, I mean, it was like a part holiday and part knowing customers, but the traveling was also draining me out. I'm not that young anymore. So in fact, when I came back, I mean, you look at bright things of life, right? I felt that, hey, suddenly I have a break, a really total break, able to sit down and think about what I want. But neither am I too free because I still keep myself connected to my overseas customer. And for those in Singapore, especially those pay to mama, they need help. So I would actually make sure that they have masks, they have food, you know. It's a lot of running. I can't visit them anymore. So what I do is I still need to make sure that deliveries are done to them, Grab and all that. But they message me every day asking about this and asking about that. Some of them are very worried and paranoid, especially with the dormitories virus coming up, right? So some of them even say they want to go back now because they are worried China is getting better. So these are some mind counseling that I have to do with them. So I feel great in the sense that I'm able to make a difference in their life. So it also lets me be more at home. I have time now for my children. My son just came back from camp after 2 weeks there.
Oh wow!
I have more time with dogs, you know. So I find it more a balanced life now. Still doing marketing online. So I felt that I have more time now. It's an opener to me to tell me that, hey, things happen for a reason.
That's great, man. And I think it's really commendable that you clearly make an effort, right? I mean, to just not be not so-called transactional, but you're yeah you do everything for your client. That's really, I mean, and I think that's how you build the trust, right? Ultimately.
And Michael, if you have time tonight and you walk around your house downstairs, right? If you look up, the strange thing is that I haven't seen such bright stars for a long, long time. Yesterday, I during my walk, I was shocked because
a lot less lights.
I saw the stars, yes. So actually, this lock-in so-called, right, has split our environment a lot too.
Yep. Yeah, very interesting times. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, I get to spend a lot more time with my son. Yeah, that's even though he's very, very disruptive to my work. Every time I record a video halfway there, he'll come in. Even now, I was very scared that he would just just like that. Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much, for the chat. I think it's great in what you shared, and yeah, let's do another one of this. Maybe sometime in the future. Yeah, and in the meanwhile, stay safe. And we'll talk soon, Tina. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
Bye.